think could practically be done to help with that? Because a big factor in this is, I talk to a lot of young men and young women. I'm in my own position as well.
Yeah, you should have some kids.
So I plan to. I will.
Yeah.
But due to from everything from social and cultural factors, economic factors, financial factors, a lot of young men and women, say the average 20-year-old or even 25-year-old, they find the whole idea of having children, bringing new life into the world, very scary because they feel like, hey, I don't have the money, I can't afford it, I can't even buy a house, I'm in debt, I'm struggling to keep my head above water, so on. So what do you think could practically be done in USA, Canada, UK, Europe, all these developed countries, South Korea, Japan, all these places where the, population is declining, birth rates are declining? I think it's one thing to recognize the issue, but what do you think can be done on a sort of practical, reasonable level?
Well, I do think that like some of the incentive structure in a lot of countries is against having kids.
Yes.
It is expensive to have kids, especially if you want to sort of give them the best education and all that sort of stuff. So it's it is financially difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I say that, but then ironically, the higher someone's income,
fewer kids.
Yeah. So it doesn't totally make sense that you have an inverse correlation with income and kids. So I guess people may sort of think that, but it's not actually real. I think that the fears, these unjustified fears of like, well, if I have a kid, things are going to be financially terrible. And it's actually not true. It's just, I don't know that I have a good answer to this because I'm trying to figure it out.
I mean, I know that for a lot of young people, and some of this is media and cultural programming, but a lot of people have been pushed over the decades the idea that having children ruins your life. Right? That it takes away your freedom and your autonomy, and you can't have fun and do all this cool stuff, and you've got to just, I think the idea of parenthood, I think the solution is, I don't know exactly how to do this, but I think the idea of parenthood and family needs to be made cool.
Yeah, it does.
It needs to be made cool again.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think people just don't understand, like, nothing will make you happier than having kids. It will absolutely improve your happiness level to have kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we're kind of like programmed for that. It's like, if we just say like in the old days where it's like, people were sort of like food was like short supply, they had plague, it's like trying to survive from one year to the next in the old days was like a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And so, now we have, now that's kind of more or less normal that you would survive from one year to the next. So, we've become, I guess, complacent, but basically, if it wasn't rewarding instinctively to have kids, we wouldn't have them.
Yes.
I mean, almost none of the world was literate until not that long ago. So it's not like you'd like, oh, let me read a bunch of books. You kind of have to instinctively love having kids. Yeah. Otherwise, you can't read about it. And it's like, it's just don't read books.
Yeah.
So I think that's important to understand. You will absolutely be happier if you have kids. Absolutely. We've evolved to have that, as all creatures have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can take, say, like, I don't know, like an alley cat or something, or a bobcat, like some like wild creature that would normally be quite fierce and unfriendly.
Mm-hmm.
And like kill or eat anything it came across. But the moment it has, cubs or puppies or whatever, or kittens, it becomes that becomes loving mom.
Mm-hmm.
So like the cat that was really mean is like taking care of its little kittens. It's instinct. It's
Yes.
like, it's genetic programming. So people should really expect that if they have kids, they will improve their quality of life, not make it worse.